Top 10 Most Valuable Coke Bottles Worth a Fortune. Are you familiar with the pop culture reference that describes women with tiny waists, ample bosoms, and bum as figure 8 and Coca-Cola bodies? Would it surprise you to learn that it wasn't always this way? Yes, this popular drink didn't always come in a bottle shaped like the figure 8, neither did it have a short height. Over the years, the Coca-Cola bottle evolved and the story is quite exciting, from the original prototypes to the limited editions and regular bottles. Because the company made so many bottles, they aren't as rare as you'd expect. Its value is so unpredictable that a rare 130-year-old Coca-Cola bottle sold for a measly $5 at a flea market while a modified root glass prototype brought in a whopping $240,000. How can you determine which Coca-Cola bottle is worth keeping with inconsistent market values? Well, we are here to satisfy your curiosity and introduce you to the world of antique and vintage Coca-Cola bottles. Most valuable Coca-Cola bottles in history. The Coca-Cola Company website admits that its vintage bottles aren't typically valuable because they were mass-produced. However, a few rare designs can fetch a substantial amount of money. Here's a comprehensive list based on Coke bottles sold on eBay. First, let's assess the most valuable Coca-Cola bottles of all time at a glance. 10. This Chinese Coca-Cola bottle is an unopened memorial limited edition made to celebrate the first McDonald's in China, 1992. This bottle was in mint condition at its time of sale despite its 28-year existence. Coca-Cola's collaboration with the franchise was a hit leading to a new McDonald's launch in 1994. The new fast food joint became the biggest worldwide with 700 seats and 29 cash registers. You'd want this piece of history, and it'll only cost you about $1,500. 9. The early 20th century Coca-Cola bottles weren't produced under the Roots Glass Company. Patterned with the classic hobble skirt design often have their logos embossed on the side. Each year's body location, bottom, middle, and shoulder, is different. This bottle came from a Jellicoe, Tennessee bottling plant and was sold on eBay in 2019. 8. The Coca-Cola Bottling Company made this commemorative bottle especially for the 1988 Summer Olympics in Seoul, South Korea. It used its game sponsorship, packaging the beloved American drink in a festive cardboard box. There's Olympic art on the bottle's sides alongside the words, 1988 Seoul Olympic Games commemorative bottle. The package also has some texts in Korean and is the perfect collectible for sports hobbyists. This bottle was sold in 2021 on eBay. 7. Bottling companies, including Coca-Cola, adopted the applied color label, ACL, bottles to phase out paper labels reuse. Instead of spending money to wash the bottles and reapply custom labels, paper and molded, they embossed the brand's name on the bottle. 1973 Coca-Cola ACL bottle, Thailand 29. 5 cl. 295 milliliters. Sold on eBay October 13, 2020 for $3,350. 6. The straight-sided Hutchinson bottles with a metal stopper, as popularly called, was the first design to package the non-alcoholic Coca-Cola drink. Unlike the later models with the red color and sometimes paper labels, this bottle has the brand's name embossed on the side. Hutchinson Coca-Cola bottles are rare because they stopped production within 7 years, even though they produced many. Only a few of these are left, though other non-Coke Hutchinson bottles exist. 5. One thing that makes the Dallas Cowboy Coca-Cola bottle invaluable is the game record list on the label. It's a limited edition anniversary product containing the Cowboys' game record every year from 1960 until its production. Although it's a post-1915 model, it has a straight side and elongated neck with a shoulder-printed Coke logo. 4. Do you remember the French wine Coca bottle from the beginning of this article? Experts appraised it after Mr. Virgo discovered the labeling and inner embossment and arrived at a whopping $5,000 value estimate. This bottle attracted such high value because it embodied most of the value-appreciating factors of antiques. There are only 3 of these bottles left in existence. It has the original label intact, excellent condition. It has Dr. Pemberton's name embossed. If you take only one thing away from this, it should be the importance of identification and evaluation. The person who sold to Mr. Virgo lost $4,995 while he gained more from paying attention. 3. Not for consumption. This unopened 1974 Coca-Cola bottle sold on eBay in 2020. It embodies the essence of vintage and antique items as truly collectible since you can't drink the content. Rumor has it there's a syringe stuck inside, but you can't verify that. Its value also comes from its preservation over the years as it's still in perfect condition. 2. This Coca-Cola Glass Company prototype bottle was the first live creation of the hobble skirt design. In April 2019, an ex-employee of the bottling company bought it at auction, 8 years after the first modified prototype sold for over X to the price. It's one of only 2 copies left in the world, and the only reason it sold for significantly less is that it came to the market second. Learn more about rarity and value below. 1. This Coca-Cola Root Glass Company modified prototype is the original model used for the patent in 1915. When Root Glass Company won the Coca-Cola Bottle Design Challenge, it hid the brand's name on its application to preserve the secrecy and uniqueness of the new design. As one of 2 test bottles left in existence, it's the rarest and most expensive sold in 2011, 8 years before the second prototype. What did the first Coke bottle look like? In 1891 the Coca-Cola Company bottled its first Coca-Cola soda drink but didn't sell until March 1894. It used the already popular Biedenharn-Hutchinson bottle, however, it wasn't the first Coca-Cola bottle ever. Before it became a pure soda beverage, Coca-Cola was a mixture of wine, cocaine, and alcohol sold as wine coca in the early 1880s. The original creator was a retired Civil War soldier turned pharmacist Dr. Pemberton. Pemberton introduced wine coca to the public as a nerve tonic for relieving headaches, constipation, and other mild illnesses. This drink came in a cylindrical bottle with an elongated neck like a modern-day red wine bottle. See the picture below. Although wine coca became a consumer favorite, the government's alcohol regulation in 1886 affected its production, leading Pemberton to remake it into a non-alcoholic beverage. He replaced the wine with cola nut, forming coca, cocaine, plus cola, cola nut, equals Coca-Cola. This fact brings us back to the beginning, where we stated that the first Coca-Cola soda used the Hutchinson bottle. By 1929, the company phased out cocaine from its ingredients, turning Coca-Cola into a legit soda beverage. How to age a Coke bottle. We'll describe aging your Coke bottle into 2 eras, pre-1915 and post-1915, because the former is easier to do. All post-1915 bottles use the hobble skirt, otherwise called hourglass, figure 8, and lady shape, design. It's tricky to distinguish them. However, that's going to end after you read this. Let's age a Coke bottle, shall we? Pre-1915. The Coca-Cola Company first bottled its drink in 1899 in straight-sided Hutchinson bottles. Then in the early 20th century, 1906 to 1907, Coca-Cola introduced the amber-colored bottle as a limited edition. The pre-1915 bottles don't have exact dates because each bottling company used different timelines to upgrade its design. We can, however, make an educated approximation based on the embossments. The bottom and middle embossed Coca-Cola bottles were 1905 to 1910, while the shoulder embossed models were 1910 to 1915. By 1915, the company's trustees challenged the leading bottling companies in the USA to design an unmistakable bottle that even the blind could recognize, and the Root Glass Company rose to the occasion. Post-1915. In 1916, the Hobble Skirt 14. 5 ounces bottle entered the market and upgraded to the Georgian green design in 1923 when it renewed its patent. The first white label with Coca-Cola and Coke bottles came in 1957. Although the early 20th century contoured bottles are similar to the modern designs, they're fatter and thicker. You can also do a quick appraisal if the bottle has a patent year at the end of the Coca-Cola moniker. The 1923 hobble skirt is slimmer than the 1915 patent, and the newer models have date codes on the bottom of the bottle. Other materials, plastic and aluminum. PET bottle. By 1978, PET, polythene terephthalate, a plastic bottle, entered the market. At first, it didn't come in the contoured design but a cylindrical shape with a star-shaped bottom. Coca-Cola, however, formed the PET bottle into the 1915 patent design in 1993 to stand out. The limited edition aluminum contour bottles arrived in the early 21st century, 2005, and the plant bottle 4 years later, 2009. The first set of Share a Coke bottle launched in 2014, and its popular demand prompted a second set with more names in 2017, including locations. What is the value of vintage Coke bottles? Overall, vintage Coke bottles aren't worth a fortune because they're often available in excess. However, specific rare designs and unopened Coca-Cola beverages cost 5 to 6 figures, although only 2 empty bottles ever sold for hundreds of thousands. The typical factors that influence antique and vintage items in general also apply to Coca-Cola bottles. These include rarity, condition, historical significance, and age. The relationship between rarity, age and value. Essentially, age and rarity often work hand in hand because the older a Coca-Cola bottle, the less likely it'll be to find it in the marketplace. In this respect, limited editions also fall under the rarity umbrella due to their limited supply, as the name implies. Suppose you look closely at the list of the most valuable Coca-Cola bottles globally. In that case, you will notice a common theme of limited editions, commemorative models, and rare antique/vintage designs like the late 19th century to early 20th century bottles. How condition affects the value of a Coke bottle? It shouldn't even be a question because vintage Coke bottles are glass. A chip, crack, scratch, or any other damage would significantly depreciate its worth because that'll render it almost useless. Then again, it depends on your reason for collecting a vintage Coca-Cola bottle. If you only want it as a keepsake, you may not mind a dent or damage, but if you intend to recycle the bottle by using it for something else, the excellent condition should be your priority. So, even though personal preference affects individual value attribution, the consensus is that mint, excellent, and good condition vintage Coca-Cola bottles command the highest value in the market. For reference, see the unopened bottles above. Historically significant bottles are worth much. The name, historically significant, speaks for itself. Vintage Coca-Cola bottles that mark historical turning points for the household brand are worth thousands of dollars. Like the wine Coca from the 19th century and the 1923 Christmas bottle. They speak to the essence of antique and vintage collections, preserving history, so they're often collectors' favorites. Final note. Although owning a vintage Coca-Cola bottle isn't likely to make you a millionaire, it can still be a great way to preserve history. More so, the listed models in this article are worth pretty substantial sums compared to others. Overall appraisal of Coke bottles, as you've learned, isn't a difficult task. You've seen how straightforward it is, though you may need some practice distinguishing the hobble skirt contoured bottles. The first Coca-Cola bottles before 1915 were straight-sided. Root Bottling Company. The thicker the hobble skirt bottle, the older it is. FAQs. Question: how much is a 1923 Coca-Cola bottle worth? A. The 1923 Coca-Cola bottle, A. The Christmas bottle, was the first to renew its exclusive new design patent. It gained its nickname from its renewal date, which coincidentally fell on December 25, 1923. As a 1900s model, it's worth about $2,300 to $2,500. Question: how many ounces are in a Coke bottle? A. The initial contoured bottle from 1915 was 14.5 ounces but contained 6.5 ounces of Coca-Cola, totaling 1 pound. The Coca-Cola Company realized its consumers had different cravings and needed more options than the standard 6.5 ounces. So, in 1955, it added 4 new sizes, 10, 12, and 16 ounces, including a limited edition 26-ounce king-size bottle.